Hey there, welcome. Friends, today we're gonna cover a topic that how to handle situation where the cookie is disabled in a browser. Now this particular situation could be there and in order to understand the situation, let us understand this very simple program. In order to save some time, I have already added this project. Moreover, I have also coded this very simple program. In here we have a simple form. This form is taken from the first lecture of this particular section, and the lecture name is session overview, where we have an input field where we will enter the name, and finally we have a submit button, and we are submitting this particular form to submit.jsp. So let me execute this particular form in order to give you idea how this form looks. So this is a very simple form, and inside the submit.jsp, if I open the submit.jsp, you will find that in this particular page, we are simply setting the attribute. And how we can set the attribute in a JSP file? We would be directly using session.setAttribute, and we will set the attribute. The name of the attribute given as session name, and the value would be the value which we receive from the form. Now session object is directly available to every JSP file. Session is one of the built-in object. Built-in object we have already checked in one of the lectures. So take a note of that. And now once a session is set, the attribute can be accessed from any page. Now the name of the attribute is session name, and we would try to access this particular attribute in this particular page, which will show the details. And the name of the page is info.jsp, and we have this link check details. So now let us check what happens when we submit a form to the submit.jsp. So I will open this particular web page and type in my name and click on submit. This particular form is submitted to this particular submit.jsp form, and name equals my name, and we have this link check details. Now this check details will redirect us to info.jsp. So let us first check the info.jsp. In this info.jsp, we are simply copying the value of the session attribute, session name, to this variable name. So this particular variable name will start containing the value of session name, and session name is nothing but an attribute. So this particular page will now display finally hello and the name of the user which has been entered in this particular page, right? So the info will definitely show the details. Now even if I directly execute this info.jsp, it will give us a proper output hello Chand. Now this is perfect and there is no issue with it. Let me again execute login.jsp, and let's copy this particular URL, and we will open a new incognito mode window in our Google Chrome browser. Now the usage of incognito window is that all the previous cookies and history would be deleted, and it would be a fresh session. And when we close this incognito window, again all the cookies related to the current web page would be again deleted. So whenever we start an incognito window, it would be always a fresh window. So let's use this, and this will load this simple web page. Now friends, if I again type in my name in here and click on submit, it will submit the form, which is perfect. But if I click on check details and we load info.jsp, it is again giving us hello Chand, which is again perfect, right? So till now there is no issue and everything is working perfectly. Why? Because cookie is enabled in here. Now suppose we try to disable the cookie. For disabling the cookie, we would be navigating to settings, and under settings, and if we scroll down, we have this option show advanced settings. If I click on this link, here we have this button content settings. We will click on this button, and in here we will choose this particular option, blocks sites from setting any data, and we will click on done. Now everything is perfect. We will close this window. We will again close this window, and we will open a new incognito mode window. Now a new incognito mode window would have no previous cookies. It's a fresh window. So let me again navigate to login.jsp. Now let us add in a name, maybe study easy. We will click on submit. Now the form has submitted successfully. We will click on this particular link, check details, and it will show us hello null. Why? Because now this particular browser is not storing a cookie and the server doesn't know the session ID. Now in this particular situation where we have a link, there is a way using which we can handle this particular situation. We can encode the session ID in the URL directly, so that if the situation is similar to this particular current situation, we can handle the situation with the ease without taking the help of cookie. Let me summarize it once again. In this particular scenario, we are not able to retrieve the session attribute for the simple reason this particular browser instance is not storing any information in the cookie. The cookie in this particular browser is disabled. Now either we can show a specific message to the user that please enable a cookie, but that is not a good solution. Rather, in a similar situation where we have a link, we can encode the session ID on the URL, and then we would be able to access the session attribute without taking help of cookie. So let us check how we can do that. The solution is pretty easy in fact. So I will navigate to submit.jsp. Yes, and in this particular href we will add couple of more details, and the details are in here. We would be using JSP scriptlet, and inside this JSP scriptlet we would be making use of response object, and we have a method name as encode URL, and inside this encode URL we need to pass a parameter, and in this parameter we would be passing request dot context path. So this particular method will get the context path, and using this we would able to receive the session ID of this particular session. We need to use the expression tag, and we need to also use slash in here. Alright, everything seems okay to me. I will execute login.jsp. Now I will add my name again, click on submit. The form will submit, and now I can click on check details, and it will show us a proper result. Note that the URL is simple and there is absolutely no change in the URL, for the simple reason that in this particular browser instance cookie is enabled. We will do the same in a new incognito window inside a Google Chrome browser, and let us load the login.jsp. I will this time use study easy rather. Click on login, form is submitted. We will click on check details. Here we go. So in here, note this particular parameter. This particular parameter is nothing but session ID, and if I navigate to Google Chrome's setting and re-enable the cookie, then this particular user ID would be again simplified. So let me navigate in here, click advanced settings and content settings, allow local data to set. I will click on OK, minimize this, and refresh this page. The form will resubmit. We will click on check details, and now let me again refresh the page. Here we go. So now the session ID parameter is gone, right? One more thing I would like to discuss is the usage of session ID. Let me navigate to Google Chrome's setting again, navigate to content settings again, and we will block the cookies again. We won't be storing the cookies, and let me close this as if now. And now let me refresh the page and fill in the name and click on submit. Here we go, and we will click on check details, and here we have the session ID. Let me again open the same login page. This time I will use the name as Steady Easy, and we will click on submit. We will click on check details. So match these to session ID. This particular session ID starts with 3 and ends with an A, whereas this particular session ID starts with 5 and ends with 6. So the session ID, whenever we set a new session, it would be always a new session, and if I refresh this page, then this session is again live, and this session would be cleared after some time by the Apache Tomcat server automatically, and we need not to worry about this. So the session pool is maintained by the Tomcat server automatically, and we need not to worry about it. This session ID is always unique, and no one would able to predict or hack this particular session ID. So this is all absolutely secure. So this is how we can handle the situation where cookies are not enabled in the browser. And in fact, let me show you one more thing. Cookies are also stored in the browser, and in fact we can view the cookies. So let me show you this. If I navigate to advanced settings and click on content settings again, and all cookies and site data, if I click on this button, in here we can check that there are many cookies available in here. For example, if I click on bing.com, there are 2 cookies, and these 2 are the name of the cookie. If I click on any one of the cookie, it will give us the value. This is the content, and it will expire on Friday, July 13th, 2018, which is like 2 years from now. So these information get stored in the browser, and obviously these information could be used by these websites in order to check your preferences which you guys have used previously. We will talk more about cookies in the forthcoming lectures. This particular lecture, I suppose I have made myself clear. Explanation was easy, and take a note of this particular thing, which is a useful thing in order to understand. Whenever you guys code application, many a time during testing, try to also disable cookie and test your web application. Try to check what happens if the cookie is disabled and how your web application will respond. So all these information is important when we work in an industry and we create a good web application. Thank you for listening, and have a nice day.